Welcome everybody, it's Evelyn, and this is a twin flame read for my Metatron deck read and my general read on the table that you see in front of you. I might have a message of the day for you as well. There's a lot of very important information that came in today, as well as a lot of downloads coming in from some musicians today. A whole bunch of people came in. It was pretty cool actually. And so let's get started. Go ahead and take a deep breath. Another deep breath. And one more deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings out to you guys. And thank you all for being here with me. I so appreciate your presence. Let's go ahead and roll the dice, see what's coming up for the twin flames today. Today is March 25th, 2022. It's my nephew's birthday. No, that was last month. Okay, we have Aries. So Rami energy as we're in Aries. We have the North Node here in Taurus. And then we have the number 6 as well. So 6 is love, family, and community. It's also the lovers. It's also the month of June. So big time Gemini, but also goes into Cancer energy. So mostly Gemini there with Taurus and Aries. So again, we have a mix of energies there with cardinal, fixed, and mutable. So well balanced in that respect for sure. So let's see how this goes. So again, it's the 25th today. 25 is the Knight of Wands. That action, movement, passion. And it adds up to 34 today, 7, which is the 8 of Wands, which is that energetic exchange back and forth. The arrows of love, a lot of communication and travel back and forth, or just a lot of energy that you're feeling back and forth. And I woke up at the time of my birthday this morning, so that was significant. I felt like Frosty this morning, you know, happy birthday. So that was coming up. The Metatron read was done at 10:01, so reflecting the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune and the 1 of the Magician. And I have to show you the picture of the read here. Okay, so here's the Metatron deck read for today. For those of you not familiar, this is the underlying energy. The bottom of the deck is here. First card out's here, going across, 12 cards, and then 3 more here, and then these. Usually I'll go to 21, but there's been extra cards coming up. This is an addendum down here. So with the Metatron deck read, done at 10:01, the bottom of the deck was love. Really beautiful energy, and the first card out was the wake-up call, the clarion call. And the colors, let's see what came up here today. We have white, we have blue and red, and anything else? That was it for the colors. So look at that, red, white, and blue. We're being very patriotic today. I didn't notice that before. And we also have, as far as the elements today, fire came up, and that was it. Right? I believe that was all. Yeah, so it's been a lot of fire lately, where fire's the only element that's been coming up. So red, white, and blue, and fire, so very patriotic for the United States anyway, and any other countries that use red, white, and blue, which many do. And we have the Knight of Wands and the 8 of Wands in the energy today. So a lot of fiery energy, a lot of movement there. And at 10:07, I started processing this. 10, of course, is the Wheel of Fortune. Again, that destiny, high vibration, a turn for the better. And the 7 of the Chariot, which again is that forceful movement energy of powerfully going forward. And we start out with the King of Swords and their purity and innocence, of the diamond light and angel wings, as the King of Cups detaches from drama, or needs to look up at the sunrise in the love relationship and harmony of the aqua rose gold heart. And then I was looking up some of those words, and a word came up very significantly, Noiau, which means core. And it's actually in Middle French. So not only is it the core, but it's Middle French. So I love how all these references that always come up when I'm looking up things. So Noiau, it's French, so I don't know if it's Noel? No, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. But anyway, that word was significant regarding the core coming up today. And aquaphilic came up, so water references, and aquafauna, which is aquatic animal groups. And then again, so dealing with this energy of the aqua rose gold heart, that high heart energy, apart from that physical healing heart of the emerald green. And then a lot of water coming in here. A town came up with aqua, but with the AU in front of it instead of just the A. And AU is gold. So that's gold water, which I wasn't getting before. And so here we have the rose gold, the aqua rose gold heart, which is like gold, rose gold water again. And so the imploding of that flowering rose in the heart, that image of that imploding on itself over and over again while flowering at the same time. So notice the imploding and the flowering is the imp, or imp with an L, oding. It's imp and loading, and then flowering is flow. It's flowering. So we have the imploding and the exploding of the flower, of the petals opening up. On IMP, besides being an imp, that type of energy that you know it means, it also means to engraft or plant or implant, to provide wings, like to extend a bird's wings, to repair their wings, hence enabling them to soar, to add, unite an object to something, to lengthen, repair, or eke out, enlarge, or strengthen. It can be that small stand for a beehive as well. The small mischievous sprite or malevolent supernatural creature, that little devil child or demon or spawn, right? The baby Tasmanian devil. The young offspring of a plant or noble family, usually male child or young man. And again, water, flower, and gold all coming up here. And gold is the GOLD, which is the binary logarithm, or logarithm to the base 2. And again, referencing the twins and the polarity of a binary system. So gold is go binary to the base of 2, along with the water and the flower here. And water is coming up as watt-er, right? So watt is not only energy in watts, but it's also a Buddhist temple. It's an Ethiopian stew or curry. It's also a person, rabbit, or hare, or ford, drunk, cotton, and also cotton wool. So what struck me the most was the wattage, the energy, regarding water, energy, urgent energy, and then the flower of the flow, urgent flow, and then the gold of the go binary logarithm to the base of 2. So, and remember, this also to do with waves, whether they're sound waves, light waves, energy waves. It's all about the flow of waves, the energy and flow, and the logarithm, which is like the logos and the rhythm, the word and the music symbols, the sound of energy and flow. The music to the base 2, which then comes up as the base symbol in music, which looks like the phi spiral with the 2 dots next to it, like a letter C. It's this symbol here, the bass clef in music. And I also was getting that the 2 of those coming together is the spiral, it's the E. Like if you wrote a script E, it looks like a coil. It's the same thing if you put 2 of those phi coils or crystal coils together. They become a spiral like the E. So they're also like the C of the whispering bench coming together to make 2. And I was literally getting the 2 phi spirals or crystal spirals coming together, causing the whispering bench. So literally the whispering bench being 2 different spirals coming together, even though it becomes a C. So the whispering bench with 2 points, like the two dots next to the bass clef C, or the backward C, 2 points in need of connection, with bones of contention. The wake-up call to align, to listen, note, and tone, which was funny because I was doing a meditation with Z last night, and it was an old one she did in 19, and I was toning with her, harmonizing, and some of it came out really beautiful, and I was just falling asleep doing it, but it was really profound energy. Coming together via aligning as opposed to perpendicular meeting, right? So meeting, instead of meeting head on, aligning and just gliding in together, like that One Journey of Love card that comes up a lot. Flowing together as opposed to crashing into each other. The clarion call of the message of codependency in the family tree at 1041, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Ace of Cups of self-love, spiritual love, and new love. Receive the chaos of life and light into your energy stores, the still energy of the shadow pack. The Akashic Review with wise new perspectives of the Divine Masculine, while the Madonna holds the space, the gifts, the presence for Milady, which is also Madonna's husband and wife, in the energetic exchange with ancestors, coming in with the sun's diamond light to the mother, the cosmos mirroring, along with Archangel Sandalphon or Saint Dolphin, which references the Lemurians and the Lyrans. The mother's clarion call of the sun, or the Saint Dolphin, Sandalphon. My son always, that energy really resonates with my son a lot. So it's definitely that divine masculine energy. The mother's clarion call of the sun, or Saint Dolphins, the children of the sun, or the children, to come home for dinner, while the father is working or researching at the same time at 1048, the Wheel of Fortune and the Walking Away and Within of the Eight of Cups. So the ancestors are here in that energetic exchange, reaching out to the whole family, as the mother's calling all the boys especially, but all the children home for dinner, that reference. So at 1048, the shaman root here is with healing hands, the teepee and the peace pipe or flute with the truth. The safety, strength, and power of this energy of the tribe, well grounded in chant and sound at sunrise and sunset, and planetary position and peace, time and distance and travel of the mind and spirit. The native human offering peace treaty with the ET and the dodecahedron portals, or the dodecahedron portals. And also it comes up with Dan Winter, who has been on Elena Danon's channel a couple times. He's a physicist. He's actually an electrical engineer, but physicist, I guess, as well. But in order for the dodeca portal to be used in the 3D, it has to be a dodecahedron in order for the fractal to exist in the third dimension. So there has to be the icosahedron involved as well in the dodecahedron. So I think the dodecahedron's on the outside, like in the movies, and then the icosahedron would be inside of that. So there's that energy between the Native American or Native anywhere in the world and that shaman energy, and then the ET or the EDs, the extra dimensionals, and the dodecahedron portals that you would meet at, right? Because that's like their portal, the human versus the ET. And again, the shaman's referencing all of us humans, and the cosmos mirroring the 12 faces of the pentagon. The shape of the dodecahedron is a pentagon face, with the icosahedron, which has 20 triangular faces. So here we have that energy of the 20, again, of the clarion call home, also of judgment and announcements, and the 12 faces of the hanging man and being wise and seeing new perspectives, but it also has to do with the patriarchy, that 12. And then the pentagon was coming up, and so the pentagon was being broken down into, instead of pent and agon, it was coming up first as the pen and tagon, T-A-G-O-N, which is literally just fuel, which makes perfect sense, because not only is pen P-E-N, but it also means the pin of my pin example of that closed unit. And then we have the tagon, which means fuel. So literally fueling up the pin, like my example of the sun coming into the feminine pin to transfer into the unit, so it becomes a sealed unit, as then they use up the energy and so on. So the pentagon is literally coming up as the meaning of my pin energy, but it's also coming up in some other ways. The pen has lots of different meanings, because not only is it the pen as well, but it's also like the prison pen, being in the pen, and the enclosed area of being imprisoned, like in a vacuum. The tool that was originally a pen was a feather, a long feather, tubular, an instrument, quill, pane, or peen that used with ink to write marks, or internal cartilage, the skeleton of the squid, and the flight feather of a bird, a wing. So the pen is literally a wing, a female swan. It's also a penalty, sister, head, and the top, or the summit, right? The peak, the pen. So the wing of the female swan, able to express itself within a vacuum. Very interesting the way that the definition of a pen is coming up. And then the word is also under the word pen is P-A-E-N, with the A-E ash in the middle of it, which is also bright light. So the bright light within the pen, which also means nice and decent, handsome or beautiful, and nice looking, neat, tidy, sizable, respectable. Also in pain or embarrassed for, bred, woman, beautiful and pretty. And also pincers, which is a tool that has like lobster claws on it. Paint, pain, chief, apex, again that peak or summit's coming up here. The end, the extremity, the supreme, and the principle, all under the word pen. So we have all of these things regarding the fuel for those things, and that's the meaning of pentagon. So pentagon is the pin fuel, or firewood for the pin fuel, which is also it also means day. So the day is the sunshine, right? So the fuel coming from the sun, or the firewood, the burning of the fire, the enclosed area of the pin to tango, hide, or debate, like the pentagon. The push and pull and the heat created under pressure causes a rise. A feather plucked in Thessalia, or Thessaly, which is ancient Greece, the highest magistrate, in order to write or draw symbols and pictures, to use a pen. It's a place of duality with no way out, like the pentagon, under pressure, and must find another way out. It's like failure to launch, where they get locked in a room and they're not allowed out until they settle their differences, which is supposed to be what the pentagon is, right? This is aside from all the other dark energies that are infiltrating, right? So an enclosed or sealed area with fuel, or fueled by the sun, the daylight, the energy, the power, the exposure, and the pressure, without relief until they exhaust all their options and then surrender. They give up, but literally up. They give it up and awaken, with the 12 faces of approval in the dodeca of the patriarchy. The 12, and relating also to the 12-strand DNA that's been controlled until now. Now we transition to the 13 of that mother arc, and that comes up from Lisa Renee's Ascension glossary. But I'm not sure if I necessarily resonate with how she positions the top 3 energies of the mother, father. And I've brought this up to you before. So if we are the mother, father, and child below, then above it's actually the mother, father, and the child is the peak. The child is the head honcho. So I literally am getting, as the 13 is the father transition and the mother is the 14 of that higher love, which makes sense. And the 15 are the little devils, the Christo Sophia, which is so cute in the way it comes up here. So the way the numbers come and the dimensions, it doesn't really matter. This is just what I'm getting here. It doesn't mean that she's wrong or I'm right. It just means that we see things in a different perspective, a different way. So dark night as the father in 13, right? Because that's the death card, transition card to the other side. And the 14 of that higher love of being patient and angelic and taking one step at a time off the beaten path. And often the mother's much more willing to do that, especially for her children. And the imps, again, who provide wings to soar, right? The little ones. The little devils free to roam, where the buffalo roam, then just came up after that. So home on the range, where the deer ones and the antelope play, which is funny because a definition came up today that meant a type of antelope. So home on the range, where the deer ones and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. So clear skies. And then the opposite, the polarity of that was coming up fromelyrics.net, and usually I'll go to AZ Lyrics if I'm looking for lyrics for a reference there. You know, Wiktionary, my big ones are Wiktionary, AZ Lyrics, and Wikipedia for basic definitions. Of course, if something random comes up, I usually let you know that website. But eLyrics.net came up, these lyrics, which I wasn't familiar with, and as soon as I saw eLyrics, it was like elliptics, not eLyrics. And this was called Where the Buffalo Roam, but it was in a very negative sense. The 7 ugly midgets sitting in my living room, this is not the smallest sign of an impending doom in the afternoon. Found a leprechaun inside my severed chest, which is very interesting because there's a card in the Gilded Tarot, the one of the 10 of Pentacles, and there's an imp in the chest, and I've showed that to you before. I've shown that. That was the energy I was getting here of the leprechaun inside my severed chest, right? So like the imp getting into the money or the jewels or whatever it is, right? That time, money, and effort. Offered him some help with his unholy quest in the afternoon. And this is, and it continues on, found a path to Wonderland and burned it to the ground, killed of every living soul, I smothered every clown in the afternoon, a home where the buffalo roam. The mother, the whore, the crone, the cyborg, the ghost, and the clone. A home where the buffalo roam is the name of the song. And it's from Otto, and it was a tribute to the late author Hunter S. Thompson. And also they wanted to plug there about seeing patterns in everything when you are tired of everything, right? In that kind of depressed place. And where a lot of people write songs from, and Spirit's connecting with me. So this was at 1140, which is alignment again of justice, and the 40 of the Page of Cups, and ending here at the 1144, which is actually my soul number, my life lesson number, 38 and 44. 38, 11, 44. So the 11 of alignment, and again of that vision, and the 44 of the grounding, integrating, and mastering of receiving of love especially. And then the blue monkey also came up, which references the blue rays and the monk key, the key of going within to the monk within, and the blue. And that just happened to be a restaurant, pizza, sports place in Catasauqua, PA, which is what I was telling you about the aqua being A-U-Q-U-A. Catasauqua. And that's a town in Pennsylvania, obviously. And so I was guided to break that down to see if there was a word that's A-U-Q-U-A, which there isn't. But katas is down. It's to milk, search, look for, gaze, catch, collect, perceive, realize, eat, take care of, consider, examine, observe. Okay, so that's katas. And then the aqua here, but O-U of the gold water. And the way it was coming out, so the only other word that was A-U was A-U-G-U-A, which is water or agua. Right? And then there's the ash with Q-U-A-L-I-S, which means equal. So again, that balanced energy of gold water was coming up here. And that equalness of the 11, again, of the alignment between the masculine and the feminine. And so the way this town came up of Catasauqua, I'm not even sure how it's pronounced, and I live in Pennsylvania. But it's a train of camels with equal water and equal relationship to each of their waters, right? They each carry their own water and each have that balanced relationship with their water. To milk it, observe it, to drink it, delouse it, to catch and care for it, and taste it. So again, doing all the things that they would do for themselves with this water that they carry in their hump as a camel. So, and I wanted to show you too, this was coming up from the pictures and the cards. Let me see here. Yeah, just the picture in the middle here. Okay, so it's coming up as like the right, sunrise to sunset. And then this is coming up like a wind chime as a plant grows. But literally the words coming up were I was building this as I wrote each word down, right? From the root to the leaves sprouting up to then the triangle or the teepee on top was coming up from the shaman card. And the stick that holds up the plant was coming up there too. Again, the energy of sunrise, sunset, and the shaman energy of the chimes and the growth of the plant, how they relate everything to other things in life that are natural from the earth, just like we do that with the toroidal field, right? It represents itself many times in things we use every day, as well as in the universe. So that same kind of shaman energy was coming up there. And then there's something called the pin pen in English, right, or in language, which is basically, two words that are spelled differently but sound the same. And also remember the pin, this definition was kind of cool too that came up, was the pin is a needle but without the eye, right? Whereas that sewing needle has the eye, and we talk about the double-eyed needle in the black hole of the wormhole. So now stay tuned here because a very important definition came up here. So at 1158 is the alignment of justice, and the 58 of the Four of Swords of connecting in the 5D, and the shaman of the truth, which in this deck is 55, to Sandalphon on the journey, which is 22 in this deck, and you know that 55 and 22 are exact reflections to each other, right? Especially if you draw them in square form, they literally reflect each other perfectly. Via the cosmos and the wake-up call to the dodeca portals here between the shaman or the human and the EDs or extraterrestrials and extra-dimensionals. So the 55 equals the 22 as a reflection, that they are equal, they're just on different sides of the fence or portal, two sides of the same coin, right? But with the wormhole or stargate between them of humans and then Lemurians or Lyrans from our family on the other side. So go with the flow 1 to 1, or that 11, aligned, equal, and sovereign, on the whispering bench, on water, or the canoe down the river towards the delta of the triangle, the change, without resistance to flow, without resistance to a new direction. Hermit, take action where movement is needed, where land meets sky, meets sea, meets sky, meets the I am. Be inspired where all the elements come together, like in the beach to the ocean and the sky, and then the inspiration, which is that fire, in the breath of ether, which is frill. And this also comes up from Elena and Dan Winter, that ether literally is frill, and frill is the energy that the Pleiadians talk about to her as the love energy. Okay, so this is where that's coming from, but the rest of this stuff is my own downloads. Okay, so coming together in the breath of ether, the frill, the life force energy, the love energy at 1203, which is the hangman and the abundance of the empress or the earth, Terra Gaia. Be inspired by the rainbow bridge, which is an arc of energy from point to point, a spark, friction out of the blue, the fire lit under your butt, the wind or anti-gravity beneath your wings. Now pay attention, this is very important here. Allowing you to fly, while gravity brings you down to the ground, as you well know. Since wind can pick you up and move you along, why not fly with love in your heart? That is the ether moving. So just like Dan Winters is teaching us in physics, so air to wind is ether to gravity. And what came through in this epiphany right here was unbelievable, amazing. So, and this should make so much sense to you and kind of like pull a lot of things together. So if that's correct, right, and gravity holds us down to the ground, and if ether is to gravity as air is to wind, then becoming one with the gravity as a human being, then let's go of the hold of the gravity, and that's what enables you to fly. Does that make sense to you? You have to listen to that again. So you're going to fly while gravity brings you down to the ground. Since the wind can pick you up and move you along, and thus gravity also does, why not fly with love in your heart, which is ether moving? Becoming the gravity is the equalizer, where gravity equals movement of love, because love is the frill, which is the ether energy. So by moving the energy as opposed to it being still, like still air versus wind, by moving the ether energy, the air that you breathe, because you breathe in the ethers, remember, and breathe back the density back to source, the movement of love in your heart, the frill, the ether, the breath, you become one with the gravity, which we talk about all the time anyway, about wounds, and becoming one with the wound, it then releases. Here is a different aspect, a different perspective of that. Become one with the gravity, and then you shall fly. Because then there's no resistance to what's outside of you. You become one with it, and then there's no gravity holding you down to the ground. Amazing. So you shall fly, but by becoming one with the gravity, which you do by flying in your heart. At 12:12, you become the gravity. The 12:12 is the two hanged men, where the Ace of Wands is that flame under your butt, right, to ignite your passions there. That is the arc, right, the wind beneath your wings. The dragon comes up here in the cards, which again, the Agon comes up as Dr. Agon as opposed to Pentagon. So we have the sun here in the dragon picture as well, and the Agon, which is also Argon, which is the AR element, number 18, which is the purple moon. So conveniently coming up when I'm telling you how to fly. Argon is the third most abundant gas. It's inert or still and noble, which also came up as the masculine and feminine when we were going through the pentagon energies. Okay? So the flame is the arc, right? So it lights the fire under your butt, that spark. And the dragon with the sun here, along with the Agon, which means Argon, the element. And we went through the definitions of Agon as well. It's number 18, which for me is the purple moon. It's both inert or still and noble, or still and humble. The Agon is the struggle between the protagonist and the antagonist, or the contest, the disagreeing, the conflict, competition of ideas, the music, the athletics, and the games. To go. Agon is movement, to go, to depart from the usual. Struggle. So instead of struggling, to go is Agon, the pentagon, the dragon of the Dr. Agon. Okay, Agon also with different accents over it means branch or twig in the fight, battle, or contest. It also means big, large, great, and strong, and it also means age. So the life of the large, great, strong branch of the tree that's separate from its trunk and unable to fall away or align with where they came from. So perhaps they don't agree with the family tree, but they can't break off either. And that's that non-destructive interruption that Dan Winters always talks to, right? Because if you break the branch, that's destructive. So how does that branch separate from the base of the tree without being destructive, right? How do you join or align with something else without destruction? Keeping your integrity, right? Or the integrity of a structure together while coming in contact with something else or disconnecting from something else. So what came up here regarding Agon, which is that struggle between the protagonist and antagonist, or in other words, the need to come to the middle, and Argon, which is an element. The only difference between those two words, which Agon does mean Argon, but Argon has an R in it, which has to do with hour, right? The collective. Finding the R in our, or our stillness, our humility, not for or against, at the 0 point. There's 0 point for the argument. That's the point. Where wings is the movement of the ether, the frill and the love, which wings came up in the definition as well, the journey of love, opening of the heart to bliss to set you free and allow you to fly. So this is not only figuratively, but it's literally. If you can open your heart that much to the bliss state of heaven in your eyes, keeping your heart open like that all the time, you will literally fly, because the gravity will release, you'll become one with it, and you will fly. How amazing is that? At 12:27, which is that the hanging man and the 27 of the Ace of Wands, gravity grounds become equal to it for a lift off or rise, and heaven in your eyes, becoming lighter and lighter as a feather, which all came up in the definitions of Agon and the pentagon. So the pentagon and the Dr. Agon, where the pentagon is that 5-sided structure, right? But also came up was the 5-noted octave, which I'm not really familiar with. But remember that the pent is the imprisonment of 5 sides and the Agon. And the Doctor, DR, literally means to drive away, to repel. It's a debtor or debit. It also means Dari, which means something from the past, or a tapeworm. To give a ceiling, which means a block, right? Blocking you to the other side or from getting to the other side. And corn and maize were coming up as this block as well as the tapeworm, which is so weird. The worms are coming up because they've been coming up this week a lot. So that's Dari, which is one of the meanings for the DR, which is also an Eastern Persian language. And it's a kind of an antelope. That's where the antelope came up right here in the DR. So there's a negative connotation to DR as the doctor symbol, to drive away, to repel, right? Because the doctor is the savior. The doctor in Egyptian also means the limit, the end, the since, from time, of, or done, over, and finished. So doctor, literally, that abbreviation means these negative things. But the end doesn't have to be the end, because the end is always just the transition to the new beginning. So the pentagon literally equals the fuel for your wings. The decent, tidy, respectable, handsome, or pretty principal with lobster claws. Tangoing all day for writing and drawing, and wings at night. Fill up with the sun like my pin. In the pin, which is that vacuum-sealed energy, once you're filled up, it closes to seal, to create a vacuum within the wind beneath your wings, which then allows the masculine then to fly. The pent receives the branches. The DR, or the doctor, repels the branches. It drives them away. By giving from the past, the tapeworm, the corn, the creating of a ceiling or a block, the dragon is with the pyramid, but is no good without its equal. It drives away because it's got too much fire and lack of water. The fire of the shaman 55 card to the water of the 22 of the Archangel Sandalphon card. And notice when you merge 55 and 22, it becomes the 88 of the twin flames dancing between their masculine and feminine, standing side by side, ready to go into union. The usual fire and water clash, right? Usually you don't put fire and water together, you put fire and air together, or water and earth. But the usual is fire and water clash. But when you can bridge these two elements of the fire and the water, which always come up as the Page of Wands and the Page of Cups coming together as the twins, you create the 8-8 of the twins, two equals who neutralize gravity by heaven in their eyes at 247, the Hanging Man, and the 47 of the Seven of Cups, of heaven in your eyes, literally, which is those synchronicities and having options. And listen to this, instead of the thrill of the fight and the agony of defeat, was coming up as the frill of no fight and the agon of no defeat. The fight of Phi and GHT and the defeat of the feet. The expansion and contraction of the Phi to reflect or come to the middle, and then the GHT of the fight is the God heart time out. And defeat is of the feet. Or we have the GHT of the G of the G, which is that 6 of the golden ratio mean, that spiral, of the height and the feet from head to foot. The spiral of the heart and the feet. Your footprint or mark in the sand, another reference to Sandalphon, at 1254, the Hanging Man with the message that your heart was here. So those feet, those footprints of Jesus in the sand are your footprint or mark in the sand, that your heart was here and there at the same time. Okay? So again, so important here, how to fly. And this is literally how you fly. It's just the ability and the spiritual discipline to get to that point where you can literally lift off. And remember too, that Elena said that, Thorhan said that by standing in mud with a light bulb, you can literally turn the light bulb on as well, which would be a good place to start. And remember that all you guys fly in your dreams. I know you have. If you are a twin flame, you were flying in your dream all the time when you were little. So, again, the pentagon is the fuel for your wings. It is the pen and the tagan, which is the fuel or the firewood for your wings, the sun, the daylight, which fills up the pen. The pen is like the pin. My pin, it's exactly my pin diagram. The pin being filled up by the sun, which I posted another reference to that recently. And also being a humble, respectable person, a loving, balanced, humble person. Handsome and pretty, right? Keeping yourself clean, right? So that other people won't be offended, right? Doing your part of not, or keeping the balance between people, but nothing extravagant. It's just about being, taking good care of yourself. It's about tangoing all day, right? In the push and pull of the daily life in order to write or use that pen at night, drawing and filling in your wings at night, finding how to fly, to fill up with the sun in the pen, to create a vacuum within the wind beneath your wings, which is that frill, that love light that fills up in your heart when you have heaven in your eyes. Receiving the branches, where the pentacle can receive the branches, the doctor cannot. It repels, it drives away the branches. So be the pen and not the doctor. By receiving from the past, the tapeworm, the corn, and creating the ceiling or block is the doctor of the agon. But you want the pentagon of the pen and the fuel to fuel it up, because the dragon is the pyramid with too much fire. And then Sandalphon on the other end can be too much of the heart emotion, right? But is there any real too much heart emotion? It has to do with the balance of fire and water here, of negative emotions, really. Of the 55 to the 22 reflecting each other in that 88 of the twin flames. Where we normally would clash fire and water, here we bridge that gap and come together as the twin flames standing side by side, of not too much passion and not too much over emotion here, able to stand together side by side. And instead of the thrill of the victory and the agony of defeat, it's the frill of no fight and the agon of no defeat. The fight and defeat, where the GHT is the God heart timeout, and also the G can be the golden ratio, and then the HT of the height and the feet. The spiral of the heart and of the feet, or that is your footprint or the mark that you leave. It doesn't have to be like a mark that you would see with your 3D eyes. It's that energetic mark of your foot in the sand, that your heart was here and there at the same time. Signs everywhere sign. This came up as soon as I put the cards out with this card. Signs everywhere sign. As birds with messages of the bluebird of happiness come in. And the communicate, speak, and be heard. Very important here. With the sun family. The family of the sun. The sun is a portal. Your authentic self. Who are you? As you peek outside the key, through the keyhole. The 6 of Cups, inner child. That you are the top pillar in the pyramid up there, right? Whereas down here, you're considered the bottom of the pole. The key to a higher love with natural boundaries of love and nature. The Queen of Cups activating the light body on the journey of the open heart, of the quantum leap of faith, where you gotta have faith, the faith. And then George Michaels, as I want to continue singing his song, George Michaels came up here, but when I wrote George Michaels, I was getting Georges and Michaels. So more than one person was coming up. And then I was getting, come together right now over me. And so then George Harrison was coming up. So George Harrison right away came up to pause and receive healing hands, the sand of hands. And George Harrison coming up, who, by the way, was born 2/25/43 and passed away 11/29/01, was a Pisces. And it actually has the same birthday as my nephew. And his child is Dhani, Dhani, which comes up from the musical notes in India. So of course I looked up to see, okay, why is George Harrison coming through right now? And 3 hours ago there was a news flash, and that was from Yahoo.com and MSN.com. Meet the Beatles, famed George Harrison and his McLaren supercar, inspired by Hinduism. And also then My Guitar Gently Weeps, which was one of my all-time favorites, and Love Me Do both came up for him. And where did I put that other one? Oh, I did. So if you've never listened to While My Guitar Gently Weeps, you must listen to that. So George Harrison is coming up regarding his songs and also the Hinduism that he put into his car. He had a purple McLaren F1. If I say anything wrong, I'm sorry, I'm not a big cars person, but he had a purple McLaren F1 car, legendary in the auto industry. And he's got the ohm symbol on each of the 4 wheel hubs as well as the steering wheel. And designer Gordon Murray put Lord Ganesha idols in various parts between carbon fiber sheets. The F1 chassis has the Gayatri mantra on it and equipped with a light-up Ganesha idol between the seats. Owned by Simon Kidston, will be, and that's in the UK, will be exhibited at the Retro Paris exhibition. One of the first cars to use monocoque or monocoque chassis, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. It's built of carbon fiber and titanium, Kevlar, magnesium, and gold foil as the heat shield in the engine compartment. It goes 1 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.3 seconds with a top speed of 386 kilometers per hour. So George's son, Donnie Harrison, is a musician, and I think his current group is the New No 2, so NEWNO2, which was coming up for me, no, so it must be significant because NO is coming up as oxygen and nitrogen and oxygen, and then the 2. And then his name was from the last 2 notes of the Indian names of the music scale, Da and Ni, or Ni, however you want to pronounce it. But they come from Daivata and Nishada. I'm probably not saying it right, but it is what it is. Okay. So anyway, they have to do with the musical notes. And then George Michaels also came up, who was born June 25th, 63, which is Cancer energy. So we have a lot of water coming up here with Pisces and Cancer. And he passed December 25th in 16, which is right after my dad's passing. And he's Cancer. And so I looked up George Michael, and just a new group called Blossoms came up, which I didn't think anything of it because they were just saying their music was much like George Michael's. It was similar, Dire Straits. And the music to me was okay. It's not that the music was that great, but when I turned the music on, boy, did I get high vibrational energies from that. I was getting a really high connection there. So again, that's Blossoms, so you can check that out if you want to see if you feel the same thing. So George Michaels had a fatty liver when he died. I think it said cardiomyopathy. And then George Harrison died of lung cancer. And I think they wanted to bring it up. But it wasn't only that. George Harrison specifically was coming in because he wanted to congratulate his son on his 5 years with his girlfriend, Molly, that was coming up as the news today as well. So hopefully that's a nice message to his son. I don't know if that'll get to his son, but that would be nice if it did. His father saying congratulations. And then again, Healing Hands was referencing George Harrison, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, which is making me cry again. I'm very connected to that song, but also because the way he's coming through regarding it. And that was at 1:30, which is the Magician and the Union. And Magician, you notice, is very close to musician. So it's the musician and the union of the music of his healing hands, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Every time I say it, it makes me want to cry. So then we were going to the Queen of Swords, Big Bird, with the Wings for Life. And Paul McCartney then wanted to come in, even though he's still here. He came through because of Linda wanting to be here, also bringing up the Wings, because Linda was part of Paul McCartney and Wings. And Live and Let Die was coming up, which was also one of my favorite songs, which is why they were bringing it through. And Lady McCartney coming up here, and she was born September 24th, 41 to April 17th, 98. And then Big Bird coming up was like, okay, so whose nickname is Big Bird? So I looked that up, and it was Joel Garner, who's a really tall West Indies guy in cricket. He was born December 16th, 52. He's still around. And then they also brought up his successor as a Big Bird, too, because he's really tall, Curtly Ambrose, 9/21/63, which they're both still around. But it said his nickname was 2 C's, which is the 2 whispering benches, which was really cracking me up. But Curtly Ambrose and Joel Garner in cricket, which I don't know anything about. So Big Bird was coming up as that tall, sweet guy, or the bird with wings of gold and a rainbow heart. A rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. And then I was getting, no, it's the ABCs, talking about 1, 2, 3. So Michael Jackson was coming through. And Michael, it wasn't George Harrison's son. It was Michael talking to Prince. So George was giving props to his son's music, And then Michael Jackson is giving his son Prince's props for his celebration of his 5th anniversary with his girlfriend Molly. So I'm sorry about the mistake. It wasn't George's child. But George's son was plugging his music there. Okay? And also the group Blossoms, because it felt really high vibrational. He was giving them a plug. That was George Harrison. And then here, Michael Jackson was plugging Prince's celebration of his 5th anniversary with his girlfriend Molly. And then what came up there was the Healing the Los Angeles Foundation, which is his foundation, which helps at-risk youth and gives them educational and other opportunities. And something that he was saying right there, Prince was saying, that the one thing he always remembered about Michael teaching him was you never stop learning, because once you do, then that's when you begin to die. His birthday is 2/13/97. I'm getting connection from Prince, even though Prince is here. The 25, he's 25 years old, which my daughter just turned 26, so they're 11 months apart. So I was definitely connecting their energies there. So we get back to the green emerald heart here of the Knight of Cups and the healing heart of the Mother Earth, Terra Gaia, awakening to spring abundance here. Showering with diamond light for clarity within on the shadow pack, and then the brat pack and the rat pack were coming out. They're all coming in. So we have Molly Ringwald, then she's the first one who came in because she was pulling up off of the Molly I just talked about. So Molly Ringwald came in with Emilio Estevez and Michael Hall and Rob Lowe and Demi Moore, Judd Nelson, Andrew McCarthy, and then Ali Sheedy. But besides Molly, I was getting Ali Sheedy really pulling in, wanting the attention here, because obviously they're all still alive. The Rat Pack, of course, is a different story, because we have Frank Sinatra, Errol Flynn, Nat King Cole, who I always bring up as unforgettable when my Nat shows up, Mickey Rooney, Humphrey Bogart, Lauren Bacall was coming up there too, even though it's not usually the guys. They used to hang out, I guess, at Bacall's house. And then we have Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Joey Bishop, and Peter Lawford were all the names that came up here. But really significantly, of course, the people that you know them as is Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and then to get clear, they were coming up here for you to get clear on your ratty and bratty sides. The High Priestess Divine Feminine needs to take a time out in the purple moon, right, which is that 0 point, the gravity-free fly zone, transitioning through the air, and then the NO of nitrogen and oxygen was coming up again, which is no, but remember no is also 9 in Germany, which then they brought up to remind me that, usually I only have 3 or 4 ants that hang out with me in my kitchen, but sometimes they get a little bit out of hand. I have to take them all outside, right? Because I tell them, I told you could have 3 or 4, that's it. And this morning when I got up, there was 9 of them there, but they were all just huddled in front of the stove sleeping. And they were the 9. There's 9 of them. So I had my brat pack was the ant pack today. So we have the brat pack, the rat pack, and the ant pack of mine, of the 9 of my ants that came out this morning, with the greatest of ease on the flying trapeze. As then the ants were telling me to tell you about how much fun they have when I take them outside. I'm just kind of this now. When I take them outside, right? Because when it gets too many of them, I have these 2 pieces of cardboard I use to get them to go on the cardboard, and then I'll just take them outside and I'll flick the cardboard so they go flying with the greatest of ease on the trapeze, which is a lot of fun for them because they're so light and they can fly. Like we were just talking about how to fly. So at 2:16, which is the High Priestess in the Tower, burn the greatest flying with the greatest of ease on the flying trapeze and my flying ants out the door, burning through that wounded warrior kundalini to rise in that untapped energy store that you have. That dark energy is an energy store. Like this is keeping a extra pack of the sun until it's used, just like Michael was saying. If you don't keep learning, then you start to die. It's the same thing with storing things, right? You're storing the energy. You don't want to keep it too long. You have to keep using it. You can keep energy storage for backup, but just don't keep it too long. Make sure it's in continuous use. Like something, if you don't use it for a long time, it becomes unusable after a while. So the underlying energy is the diamonds and the roses to cheer someone up, the high heart and the green heart, and then calling all the boys home who may be out studying and shamaning and rowing with the flow in the spring. The tree of the Holy Mother, the galactic and the all, which then I really heard these sweet birds singing outside there. It's so sweet. and the time to move and go within later, right, in the day, to receive the sun in the energetic exchange with the Sandalphon, that Saint Dolphin of the Lemurian and the Lyran energy, arcing that rainbow arc to the divine feminine in the purple moon on the other side of the portal. And literally I was getting this picture in the cards of the leapfrogs with the sun and the moon. And I'll show you the picture again so you can see that, but I'm going to show you the picture I drew of that as well. So look at how the you have receiving the sun here, and then there's the ancestors arc, like that rainbow bridge, over to Sandalphon, and then arcing again to the purple moon, right, of the divine feminine meditating in the 0 point field. So it's literally playing leapfrog here, jump to jump. And you see how the rainbows, they come in the same way. They could meet, but they don't. They're parallel, and it was coming up like this. And this parallels to something Elena was talking about with Dan Winter as well. So it looks like this. So here's the sun, and there's the one bridge, but they don't meet. They are separate from each other, coming in to the moon over here. But it's not going in one direction. It's coming back in both directions. The implosion in the middle of the toroidal field, where it shows movement, though, whereas it's not up and down. It's not that hourglass in the middle. It's showing movement in the middle, which is like this shape right here. And this ball in the middle is what Dan and Elena were just talking about in the toroidal field of the Holy Grail, that looks like this, like when the two cups come together, it creates this bulb in the middle here, which I was getting is that lever that changes the train tracks, right? It shifts you into another dimension. That solar plexus, that bubble that's created, which I get as the solar plexus energy, which I've been trying to get to understand it more, right? Because the heart is where the energy of the 0 point field is. But it's that fire under the heart, which is the solar plexus, that lights the fire of the heart to expand. That's the energy I'm getting there. But it's like the Holy Grail isn't the one-sided cup, it's the two-sided cup that looks like a cup on both sides. And this bulb in the middle is that key to flying. That's the energy that Elena and Dan Winter were talking about, which is that fire that lights you up, the inspiring piece in your solar plexus, and getting your solar plexus free from that nervous energy. And that's where all the quantum entanglement is of the energy lines. So you want to go in and meditate to see if you can smooth out and make them all align, as opposed to be all tangled up like your old jewelry. It's that same kind of energy there. And that's when I was doing a session this past week with Vivian Chauvet. I was seeing them working on me, and what I was seeing was those fingers being smoothed out, so they weren't tangled anymore. They were all smooth, and I was literally seeing the hands smoothing them. So it was really cool. So very cool. I mean, this is so important. I can't tell you. I'm like so amazed that I got this information today. It is so cool. So the way that we fly, because it's the wing beneath our wings, so it's paralleling that gravity free zone as that solar plexus energy, but it needs to get untangled in order for us to come into union. And again, we have to maintain that blissful heart all the time in order for us to become light enough to fly, to become equal with the gravity, in order to basically neutralize it and be able to rise. So there is it's so amazing. I don't know if you're feeling that, but it is amazing. So let's go on to the read in front of you. Okay, so the SIRIAN Starseed deck is the main deck for this read on the table, for those of you not familiar. Here's the main read. Okay, and we're already an hour because it was important, this read. And then here is the 7-deck read. Okay, so I think I'm going to hold off on that message of the day just because it was already a lot. So this one was done at 7:07. I cut the SIRIAN Starseed deck, so there's that 7 and 7 here with the space between. And I'm getting 007, right? This is double sevens and O, but it's the same kind of reference as 007. So again, live and let die was coming up again. And then the 7:18 of the Chariot and the moon, the purple moon, an N of orbs was coming up. So again, the N of NO, which is nitrogen, which remember has a pink glow in that article that came up yesterday, or whenever it was I said that yesterday, the day before. The N for me, the capital N, is the Christ energy of unity consciousness, but it's also coming up as nitrogen, which has a pink glow to it, which is compassion. The N of orbs, which is thoughts and words, blind men and orphans, and also the BS, which references can be BS, but also could be bowel sounds, which are very important, right? Because you need to keep yourself clear there. So the air and the bowel sounds, or the BS, is coming up here, right? To keep the BS to a minimum. Right? Because if your bowels are making a lot of sounds, it's probably because they're struggling to get everything through. And you want to really have, if you're eating really healthily, ultimately, if we only ate what we needed, we wouldn't poop at all because our body would use everything. So it's just keeping it clean. Our words, our perspectives, and our foods, things we take into our body, all the things we ingest, whether it's into our soul or our bodies. And then finishing the clarifications at 736, which is the chariot and the 36 of Atlas, the weight of the world on your shoulders. And the major arcana is the higher self and the starseed. And starseed is the fool in this deck. And before the read was karma and the tower. Karma is the judgment card. After the read is the wheel of fortune and the strength card, which is the great wheel in this deck. And the strength card, which is the jumping through the ring of fire here with the Bengal tiger. And then we have the 5 wands, 1 pentacle, 2 swords, and 1 cup. So the 51 and the 21, which is the king of swords and the world, and completion coming full circle. And also it's the divine feminine. It could be the king of swords and the divine feminine as well, or Pisces energy. And then we have the queen of wands, the page of wands, and the queen of cups in the read. And before the read, the queen of pentacles. There's 3 queens here, and the knight of swords was before the read as well. We have triple fours here, very much the angelic realms today. And 66 of the Queen of Pentacles and 1010, that very high vibration to keep it really pure and high vibe energy. And the 66 also is the Golden Gate, right? The spirals that go into the flower, the 5 spirals. And I'm not sure what crystal spirals reference, right? Because that is of a higher vibration. It's not represented that much on Earth because it's of another dimension, the crystal spiral. So I don't know what things like what natural things contain the crystal spiral, whereas we talk about the flowers that do have the 5 spiral. So if any of you guys know, I'd love to know that. But again, it's a very high vibrational spiral, and we're on Earth, so we may not necessarily resonate with that unless we get really high vibe, So we have triple fours, 66 of the Queen of Pentacles, and the 1010 of that high vibration. The 24 of the Queen of Wands also comes up here. 1 is less significant here, but it is present. The 1-2 of the Hanging Man, the 24 of the Queen of Wands, the 46 of the children hugging each other, the 68 of the Page of Pentacles, right? That curious, good student who's looking to manifest something new. And then the 810 of 0 behind 81, which is the end, for me, is the end of karma around the world. And that reference comes from the Divine Triangle Numerology book, where 81 is the triangle goes up to age 81, and then afterwards it's kind of like you have more free reign as to what you decide to do, whether you want to stay or go. So the code line, there were no numerology cards today, but the numbers were 14 coming from 10 and 4, which is 10-4, message received, of a higher love, the 14. And the messages came up like this: the Sophia and her high vibe TV, which is telepathy, right? Telepathic vision, foreseeing or foreseeing the higher self star Queen of Cups that you are. Okay. To breathe, and the word ATEM was coming up, which means to breathe, very significantly here, since we're talking about the breath and ether and all that kind of stuff. To say, or perhaps write an essay regarding Sophia and the breath, right? The Divine Mother, and the breath and the ether, the love, the frill, the telepathic vision of the perhaps 4 people seeing, or the 4 of the Emperor, right? The Godhead seeing from the other side, the higher self, the stars, and the Queen of Cups' wife, or the ember of rain that she is, right? The sadness that the feminine can hold. To say or use the essay to tether, repair, or use a net, or to net something in, or repair a net within your jurisdiction, your telepathic vision, or even TV and foreseeing, right? Some of the shows are showing you what's about to come because you're getting instant feedback right here. Or foreseeing the higher self, the stars, the Queen of Cups, the rain cloud in the distance, so being able to see it before it shows up, the rocks before they fall, the issue or the season before it happens, so then you can shift. The Sophia tent or the tilt, that action I showed you from the leapfrog there, right? The toroidal field is usually shown as an hourglass straight up and down. But when you get the ether moving for the acceleration to do what we were talking about, just like air is to wind, getting the air moving, to get the ether moving shows the toroidal field at an angle, which is what I was showing you with the cards. So again, that movement of love. So it's not like you have to physically move all the time. That's not what they're saying. It's the movement of energy, which is that energy of heaven in your eyes. It's the ground moves you. That's what they're talking about when they're talking about this. So the Sophia tent is also coming up, is the upside down V, right? The Sophia tent, though, is the letter V, literally, right? The creation of the vaginal canal, literally. The Sophia tent or tilt, and again the tilt is showing movement, of the store or short creation, or goes camping, or is forming a V to attend, guard, heed, care, and design, to create intention, to test, probe, or tempt, to absorb or search a wound, or red wine creation, or perhaps that's a stain, as to foresee, or the emperor does, or to foresee the higher self, the stars, that are clear of emotions around time or season, or around the emotions of being a wife. So again, this is the masculine clearing his fire energy, because we've had too much fire here, and he needs to go then into his King of Swords, right, to counteract that. The same thing with the feminine, right? She needs to douse with earth, her emotions, when she gets too emotional. So the Queen of Wands upright is the underlying energy here at the bottom of the deck. And you notice the Queen of Cups got knocked here. She has something to say about that. The Queen of Wands is right here, and the Queen of Cups right there. She's reversed there. The Queen of Wands is upright here. And she's also more bossy, the Queen of Wands, upright or not. So we have the Queen of Wands upright. Beneath it is the Queen of Pentacles upright, the Ace of Wands upright, Karma reversed, the Knight of Swords reversed, and the Tower upright. So we have, for me, Aquarius reversed and Scorpio upright energies there. As the Queen of Pentacles either receives or offers new passion, creativity here, or growth, inspiration, or perhaps is inflamed or on fire, but without karma or judgment, without calls or an announcement, or two Aquarius Knight of Swords reversed in an epiphany or tower moment here, or sudden event, with the Queen of Wands. And this could be a female-female couple as well, and there could be sex involved there if that's the case. But if it's not a female couple, it just has to do with epiphanies or sudden events going on between them, which can be friends, or the Queen of Pentacles receiving the passion from the Knight of Swords reversed, needing to swallow her pride in a sudden event, epiphany, or sexual exchange with the Queen of Wands. Where the Knight of Swords is reversed, holding back calls or messages or announcements for a sudden event, epiphany, or sexual exchange with the Queen of Wands, perhaps that's causing arousal in the Queen of Wands, or for someone, they may be being asked to do a threesome, perhaps. And the other signs are coming up here besides Aquarius reversed and Scorpio upright, Cancer reversed, Aries reversed, Gemini reversed, and Virgo reversed here. The Queen of Wands with the whole truth to set the dark night free, or giving the truth, or they're serving their head on a platter, to Aries upright, Scorpio reversed, as the Page of Pentacles reversed, lets go of what little they have here to fix, repair, or make amends at 822, which is the dance of the Fool's Journey. So the Magician is reversed here at 823, the dance of the King of Wands, and the Magician reversed and disconnect are at a distance. And by the way, when I dealt these cards, the King of Wands was reversed, but he flipped upright and fell on the floor. And this was literally what his reaction here. So he's right here. But I wanted you to know that because he initially was reversed, but he flipped up. Literally, he got up like really quick. So that's coming up in the story right here. So the Magician reversed, that may have been the King of Wands reversed, and disconnect are at a distance with the Knight of Wands reversed, deceiving the Page of Cups reversed, or making them get up really early with the Emperor reversed, and the King of Wands, who was reversed, perhaps flipped upright when they fell to the floor, with the Knight of Swords reversed, the Page of Pentacles reversed, and the Queen of Cups reversed, all of them present and all reversed except the King of Wands, who of course right now just flipped upright, but no one taking responsibility here, or there's no truth or no initiative, no kindness or love, or lashing out and blaming others, or not saying anything at all, perhaps without shoes and still with their blanket, or stole their blanket, and so they froze all night long. So someone, obviously the King of Wands probably, not getting it, feeling any love from anybody. As the Page of Cups reversed and the Emperor reversed, the King of Wands reversed, who was anyway, and the Knight of Swords reversed, the Page of Pentacles reversed, and the Queen of Cups all reversed right here together. An unhappy group when the Queen of Wands comes in, she's upright, and the King of Wands turns right up, recovering from an injury or illness or exile of the group, or let back in by the Page of Wands, who's upright, to manipulate a breakup, or insecure without affection, so the Page of Wands let them in because they wanted a hug. Or the King of Wands, the Page of Wands could reference ultimately the King of Wands too, perking right up, feeling like a kid again when the Queen of Wands walks in, or perking right up whenever there's an opportunity for attention to be gotten. So it's like someone comes in, oh, I get to get attention, so they go running to get attention. Or the Page of Wands is just excited to see a Gemini reversed and or Virgo reversed, wanting to hear about the pyramids or receive flowers from them, or needing their tools back from them, and that's why they're excited to see them. Worth waiting for, but beneath that was stay optimistic about your love life, with big love at work and the Queen of Cups reversed with the King of Cups upright together here, reaping rewards of their own children or grandchildren, but not each other perhaps, or taking care of kids so that the kids' parents can have some time in the chair or out to eat, or be serenaded, or deal with a three-way situation, or get some healing, or play footsie under the table, or get drunk and leave the food all over the floor. So just, a time to let themselves loose without having the responsibilities around at 8:43, which is the dance of coming together or socializing. So it could just be too, like grandparents letting their kids go out, and taking care of the grandkids, that kind of thing. But big time is coming up here. Follow your dreams, and beneath that, self-discipline, though, right? So there has to be some kind of discipline here, but not in a negative way, in what really resonates with you, and not following others, not what others tell you to do, but your own discipline of what you know you need to do. Post-war or post-virus, needing closure and to heal a loss, regret, guilt, or shame. And then at night or after the full moon, illumination or romance of synchronicities and options, or heaven in their eyes, recovering from exile of the devil on fire, as the Queen of Swords at 8:46, and I got a whistle there, with the wounded warrior, the Queen of Swords and the wounded warrior here, or perhaps she is the wounded warrior, maybe she's a warrior, at 46, which is the inner children loving each other, or outer children loving each other. They may be looking back together or living in the past. The stinger is out with the royal blues and purples, or the servant to the queen, or the snake in the grass. With Cancer upright and Capricorn upright here, it just depends on your perspective, right? The queen's going to think they're a pain in the ass, and the one serving the queen's going to say thinks she's royal or entitled or something like that. But that's the dynamic that was coming up here. The wounded warrior looking or going back to the Queen of Wands upright and the Queen of Cups upright, without affection as a third party, separation or heartbreak, and following their dreams to ground their union into reality. Or the wounded warriors checking in on the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups, kids dealing with a separation and unable to sleep or get rest, so maybe they're just following up to make sure they're okay. Standing up to foolish behavior of the Knight of Cups, or pushing the fool away and they just keep offering love. Self-satisfied, losing patience or temper, or the fallen angel with the world upside down, or needing closure here, or needing to end the cycle, with Sag reversed and Pisces reversed coming together, or socializing at work. And someone there is feeling imprisoned by this socializing at 8:58, could be a boss, 8:58, which is the Four of Swords and the 5D connection and dance of the twins, and feeling imprisoned at work with other people socializing or sharing while they're trying to concentrate. And then 8:59, where the 59 is the Five of Swords and the conflict, the war within, with the Knight of Pentacles reversed, unable to function, or refusing to work, laying in bed all day, or trying to get over a loss or regret of the Queen of Wands and the Justice, which can be two separate people, or maybe the Queen of Wands is Libra, or the Devil temptation, not receiving any love or dumping a load from those in pain or betrayal or bleeding out, or a painful ending post-war with the Queen of Swords upright, talking about heartbreak without peace, hanging out drained or hung out to dry, without sun or overexposed, or with out-of-control kids, Leo, pets, or ego out of control. And the recent past is the Four of Wands reversed, which can just be referencing a lack of stability, but the home received passionate offer, perhaps suddenly out of the blue, but it's also upside down though, so it's reversed. So that could be somebody, it's either the home or marriage is unstable, or someone's leaving the home to go visit, which then renders it unstable. Someone's home receiving a passionate offer suddenly out of the blue, dumping a load with Cancer reversed, Knight of Cups reversed, while getting their ducks in a row and juggling the daily. Present to guilt and shame of the Queen of Pentacles, with uncomfortable emotions around this, with the High Priestess, Divine Feminine or Pisces, and Scorpio and Pisces upright, but Cancer reversed here. With the foundation of the Six of Wands, back in the saddle with good news and leading the way, after the Queen of Wands perhaps was the one running away or stealing from the Page of Cups reversed and the Knight of Pentacles reversed, or perhaps they ghosted them. And the King of Wands is upright now with the High Priestess or an aide or counsel, and the central energy of the Page of Cups upright, expecting to be worshipped, or dealing with their sister, worshipping them, or suffering in silence, unable to sleep, with the wounded warrior on guard and being offered a choice by the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community, perhaps with dysfunction or recently experienced a loss. With the Page of Wands, with their dreams and or seeing synchronicities, and notice we have that the Page of Wands, Queen of Wands, and now the King of Wands is upright since the Queen of Wands came in. Maybe he was stuck taking care of things and she was away, and he's just happy she's back because now he doesn't have to do all the work. But the three of them are all upright here. It could be a happy family as well. And then the challenge being the higher self upright. And they could be siblings too. It doesn't have to be a couple. They could all three be siblings or parents and a child. The higher self is in the challenge position here of the Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands' higher self is the challenge, reading from scrolls in plasma and holding back an announcement, a call, or needing to make a decision with the Empress and where to move her to perhaps, or Aquarius reversed Taurus moving out or unstable, present to uncomfortable energies or emotions, or with nowhere to go, and the King of Pentacles upright and being strong, or Leo taming the beast at 9:16 of the Hermit and the sudden event, epiphany or sexual exchange, knowing and keeping to themselves, in a rest or taking a break in 5D connection, and the King of Pentacles trying to get them to open up, with Fairy Justice here, or Libra inspecting every inch, perhaps of a hostage situation, getting off the fence or the need to get off the fence and away from the sweet tweets, feeling castrated and by marking their territory, with Capricorn present to their flame and drained or in need of the sun or their sunshine, with the wounded warrior with unhappy family and at work spending when they don't have it, or at church or synagogue or temple and tithing money they don't have and burdened by slaving for their destiny. And now here is the Four of Pentacles reversed and Divine Masculine's heart coming out of the Batcave. The King of Cups upright, the Queen of Cups reversed, and the Emperor reversed here, perhaps released by the Ten of Pentacles family, business, or community. Perhaps they're making cuts or taking down the field or cutting out the past. And the Queen of Pentacles, temptation or Capricorn, leaving or saying goodbye. And this could also be getting a home for a parent who you can't take care of anymore. The Divine Masculine King of Cups reversed. They could be one or two separate people. And the Sovereign coming together with Hermit or Virgo energy to get over the past, conflicted and blocked by Destiny or Libra upright and Cancer reversed. Or perhaps that can be two sides of the same coin, right? Trying to see the same point. And there could be two Queen of Wands here, two fiery ladies here, and the Knight of Pentacles reversed in disconnect or at a distance, refusing to help, or refusing to help with a move or to fix up the house or the visit. Two hostage, deceived, or Cancer reversed with unhappy family or ending a cycle with justice of a divorce perhaps, and the King of Swords upright and the Page of Swords reversed with the Empress perhaps and someone taking care of the kid in a breakup so that they can take care of things at 9:28. which is the Hermit and the 28 of the Twin Flames, or choice of path. And again, it doesn't have to be a breakup. It could be taking a parent to a facility or something like that. And then soon here is the Starseed upright with a big download or a big fresh start, as the Queen of Swords speaks about ending pain and the painful end and betrayal, the message and the petty arguments, the heated exchanges at 10:15 and in need of sunshine, delays with kids out of control. And again, that's the little devil children, the beautiful little Tasmanian devils, and the 15 of the shadow side of our little angels, the 10 of that high vibe Wheel of Fortune. And then at 10:19, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun, the Queen of Swords speaks of needing peace, burdened by falling out in the past, needing to swallow their pride about work with the 10 of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community, with dysfunction or having lost someone, and that could be losing money as well. And the Hermit upright, looking at a few choices and being strong, or perhaps packing to find peace. Somebody could be moving out. And the Twin Flames seeing themselves, that's the 10 of Wands, that Atlas energy of leaving the wounded warrior behind. For dreams to come true, to heal with synchronicities, and the King of Swords sharing or settling out, leading the way with good news and preparing for a new life, to awaken before dawn. Calling in the soulmate, retreat, it is safe for you to love and keep an open mind, right? Your partner may differ than what you're used to. At 10:35, that high vibe wounded warrior, and around the twins is the Two of Swords, perhaps floating on air or comfortably numb, as the Knight of Wands reversed is falling short or wanting to start over, with the Knight of Swords reversed holding their tongue, reaping rewards or daydreaming, or just unsure, or maybe they're unsure of their shares, unsure of their worthiness of such a commitment or savings for the Knight of Wands reversed and the Knight of Swords reversed, and a marriage, religion, or establishment, or a Taurus. So it could be putting away money for the family or to get out of a situation. And the block here being the Queen of Cups reversed, with Aquarius and Sag reversed at work or school or with personal issues, or the workplace is fine, but perhaps needing more business or patience, or needing more calls, or needing to return more calls or messages, to make a judgment call, or to receive a final judgment or a wake-up call. With the 10 of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community of dysfunction or loss, destined to Atlas of burdens, and the Knight of Swords reversed, or the Lovers reversed, which can be a Gemini, or lashing out in a breakup, or falling out with kids, ending pain or a painful end, with the Divine Masculines coming out of the caves to stand up for all men. With justice and bad news, or a negative message for the Empress, hanging out in separation or heartbroken, no longer praying for the past to return, destined to anxiety and prison and being strong, breaking through the ring of fire at 11:08, the 11 of alignment and the 8 of the dance between the masculine and the feminine, and birthing with a mighty roar, self-satisfaction in getting their wish after all. With the Queen of Wands on the journey, burdened and comfortably numb, unstable or moving with the Page of Wands, and challenged by the higher self with big download to crown, of the Queen of Cups reversed, with Divine Masculine coming out of their cave to end the pain, and starting over with the past returning, and destined to hide and be strong all at the same time, in order to be happy with themselves. The Queen of Wands moving from the past, leading the way with good news for the Page of Wands perhaps, and the block here, or the challenge being the higher self, and the Divine Masculine's heart opening up, and Atlas leaving the wounded warrior behind for a fresh start, knowing and floating on air, as the Queen of Cups reversed may be in pain, wanting to start over after a falling out, and destined to hide and be strong, or perhaps they're just hiding their own strength. And overall we have Libra and possible Pisces as well reversed, and there's Aries is the only major arcana in the read. And then we also had at the end here Libra, Capricorn, Taurus, and Leo upright. So the major players again were the Queen of Wands and the Page of Wands, and then the Queen of Cups who's reversed, and the Divine Masculine's heart, which may not be well right now, in trying to open up and get past those walls that he needs to take down. Okay, so that is your read. So I'm just going to pull a few oracle cards because we're at 24:21 already. It's 5:14 on the clock, which is the Hierophant and freedom of that higher love. And then the 24:21 is the completion, with 24 is completion too, because that's Omega. and the one of the magician embodiment of Omega complete and the world complete. So that's like completion on a community level and then completion on a worldwide level as well. That's pretty cool. So what's our takeaway here? With Aries from the dice, or the die, Aries and the North Node Taurus and Gemini energies of the twins. The twins following the Taurus North Node with a vengeance, as we're in Aries, starting off the new year. Starting off with that flame lit under your butt. That's exactly what that is. Following that stability of Taurus, right? That fixed path without deviating, which is their talent. It also could be their obstacle. All right, see. And also balancing that, because 6 can bring up Cancer as well. It's bringing up the water energy with that fire energy. Oh, that one just flipped up. There we go. The cheetah ready to pounce. There's that person or your energy getting that fire lit under your butt. Someone's ready to go, on your marks. And the whale, which comes up as the father arc. So there's that whale who's really exhausted. As the masculines offered, maybe they are offering, they're exhausted. And the cheetah over here is ready to pounce. And this could be two sides of the same person as well. And then there's the little vulnerable energy, the child, right? So this could be all three parts. This can represent the feminine, the masculine, and the child part of the masculine here as well. Of trying to keep their energy pure into themselves, but really exhausted in the 3D world, and yet at the same time, we're ready to jump on it. And then the next 3 come up together, which is the bunny, the camel, and the tiger. And how funny I think they all 3 came up. I think the bunny did, but the camel came up in the line of camels in respect to their relationship with their water and how well they treat it. But he's independent and little blue here, and the bunny's always nervous or scared. And then here is the white Bengal tiger jumping through that ring of fire to get to the other side. And purifying. They're staying pure here. And this could be, a parent with their kids as well. They're not sure about it, but they're following the tiger's lead here, and they're very sure. And there might be a parent, because there's a parent, right? The old vulture. And by the way, what was coming up is that the definition of I forget what the word is. It had to do with the eagles, right? Because Russia's the 2-headed eagle. And the reference between the bald-headed eagle versus the golden eagle. But one of them is literally means vulture. I have to pull that out and see what it was. But the vulture's coming up. But this could just represent someone's parent who may need to be put in a facility or just needs help, or maybe is helping you out and with your kids, that could be as well. Okay. But there could be you got to be careful here, because dear one, you may be a target here, right? So if you're leaving your kid with a grandparent who may not be able to really take good care of your dear one, be careful who you're leaving them with, because we got a crocodile and a shark right here. Okay. And this could be 2 sides of the same person, which neither side is great, right? So be careful about that. Maybe they're neighbors. Your parents or grandparents' neighbors taking care of the kids. And this is that sweet, innocent one. Even if this is an adult, it's still someone who's very doe-eyed and sweet. But it also could be someone referencing their heaven in their eyes and surrounded by all this negative energy. And then we have this power pack talking about the rat packs and the brat packs. We got Mr. Ed, the wise owl, and the leader of the pack, the wolf. And they're all standing at attention. They're ready. They're listening. I love it when the cards are like this. And there's the antelope, too. So the gazelle's like an antelope. But hold on a second. My cards are all falling down. So we have these guys. Right? So these are your power players here. These are your teachers. They're really paying attention. They're in the know. They know to pay attention, right? They're not distracted. We have here, the dear one is paying attention, but they have all these distractions, really negative distractions around them. Okay, so be careful about that if you're leaving a child with a grandparent. And then here again could be a masculine specifically with their children here who may not be sure about where they're going, but they're trusting the parent. And then again, the multiple sides. This also could be a mother, father, child. It also could be three sides of the same person. And trying to keep the vulnerable protected, where the aged is really weak, like the grandparent, and then someone who's raring to go, like ready to light a fire underneath here. But they have to take care of these two here. So, and then I wanted to bring up the next three too, because we got we have to bring that too. Aw. My ants are sending me messages again. Okay, so this is like the moth to the flame. After the big guys there came out. You can't resist them. Like a moth to the flame, where the antelope roam, right? Home on the range. And the gazelle, reminds me of the antelope. There's no antelope in this deck. And then we have the zebra who doesn't change their stripes and perhaps goes against the grain. But then we have the little birdies singing songs, which I was talking, there's one line in the read where I say how the birds were so sweet outside as I was talking about that. And their sweet little breath clears the air, the little, like baby's breath. It's so pure and innocent. That's the kind of energy that causes you to be able to fly. And these guys they're paying attention over here. They're also around really high vibe energy though, right? The moth is very drawn to the flame and they're feeling that energy over here, and over here they're feeling that beautiful baby's breath of the birds singing, and it's helping them keep their vibe really clear. But what was cracking me up here was not only my moths and my birds and all my creatures coming around, and that these two may not be exactly the same, but they're very similar, but they complement each other. Okay, that could be coming in as well. But then with the birds outside and their sweet voices, then the raccoon came up, because this is my aunt saying, but we're tired of being thrown out with the trash. How funny is that? So funny. So there may be sweet little birdies, but there's also little critters out there like raccoons who may be upset because you don't have any trash put out for them. Oh, that's funny too, because when the cats were meowing out back, I put some milk out, and it definitely was taken. Maybe they're asking me to put more stuff out. This is the animals outside. Feed me, send me bird seed and more trash in the trash, or put milk out so I can drink it. That could be the cats. I should look under my deck because they may be hanging out back there. Yeah, and also just keeping track of your little kitties. It's like those family groups coming up. But I love, this is a really powerful energy that came up. Just watch out for the little ones here. Like when you're distracted by some negative energies around you, maybe purposeful. Yeah, I got to show you the next one too. My gosh, these groupings are coming out so profound. These are the next four. The golden child, right? The golden nest egg. When someone's away, right? This is the energy of clearing the way or flying out and then rising. And then there's that butterfly who's still getting their sea legs, not used to learning how to fly yet. So again, this is that energy of, could be being away from home and making your nest egg vulnerable, or your child vulnerable. Again, when they're still learning to fly, perhaps they're trying to light a fire under their butt to get flying. There's that reference also here, to get them outside and go enjoy the spring in the collective awakening. As we have the wounds to clear, there's an event. You need to go out to the world in the spring and enjoy it. And you may run into an accident. Don't get in. This is the parent telling them to go out. If you go out, enjoy the spring, but don't get into an accident, right? Because they're just getting their wings in the spring. Be careful when you're out there. Oh, baby, baby, this a wild world. It's hard to get by just upon a smile. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. And I'll always remember you as a child. So it's definitely some parents, and someone's losing their voice because they want to cry when they say that. but their children are leaving the nest, and they're just saying, be careful, and trying not to control them anymore. And again, we have the carpenter bee there, so there's that reference to the carpenter and Jesus, and they're always keeping an eye on you, so no worries. And there's the Dr. Agon again. So be careful about the doctor reference, right? Because they chase people away. An apple a day will keep the doctor away. So eat your apple, is what they're saying. How funny is that? And then we have, they keep going on through the whole deck. And then we have the reference to the eagle and the panther pouncing, which is that vulture energy that I was just saying. I was trying to remember the eagle reference, which was a definition for the vulture, actually, one of the definitions. It's like the ancient eagle word. I can't remember. I have to look back. As the eagle lands, the panther attacks, the black panther. The bottom of the deck is the hummingbird clearing the air with that really high vibe energy, like we're talking about flying. This is literally representing what I was talking about in the read. Okay, so the hummingbird sees heaven in their eyes, and thus they are able to fly because they sing at a very high vibration there. Okay, so remember the first cards out were these three here, about the one who's raring to go with a fire lit underneath them, the one who's exhausted, who perhaps needs some help, as well as the young who are trying to protect their energy here. And then these two as well. And these could be, you know, two different families. They could be a mother and father splitting up with the kids. One has one kid, the other has two kids. Or it could be two families coming together and wanting to get it going here. And then again, to be careful of your dear one here with the doughy eyes, because they may be surrounded perhaps by someone who has good intentions with a grandparent, but also there could be some really negative energies around them as well that the grandparent may not be able to foresee. So be careful about that. And be good to your little animals around your house. And then this could just be another family too who's hanging out with their kids. And some are singing and being happy, and some are depressed and being moody, and others are being attracted to flames without thinking first. So it's just, you know, letting your children a little bit at a time find their independence. And I love this spread too. Like, again, the golden child, the golden nest, clearing the way for the children to rise, but remembering they're just getting their sea legs, so don't push them. Don't push them out of the nest. Allow them to enjoy the spring, but remember that there's fire too, that there can be accidents and events to balance things out, and that's okay, but to just be careful. The phoenix rising. As the heat rises, and there's that heat, this is the water and fire balance too, you see that? So you got the fire, and this could be really watery actually too. And then more of the colder energies, right, that are coming in to put out the fire. There's a reference there, okay? Things get too hot to come home, right? That's when you need to come home and put out the fire. Trying to teach your children on their boundaries. Okay, and then the journey of love. Baby, it's a wild world. I'm getting, these three are staring at me, and now I'm getting the Rat Pack for that, right? So Dean and Sammy and, who's the third one? Oh, Frank Sinatra, is it? Dean, Sammy, I can't remember. Okay, that's the cover of the deck, self-initiation. Again, learning how to make decisions on your own, and parents teaching their children how to do this, you know, based on age appropriateness. And the 12, again, which came up significantly in the read, the 12 of completion is also the hangman and being wise, which can reference the 5th to 6th densities, and that's different from the dimensions. And this is depicting a feminine energy of learning how to light her own fire, right, to get herself going. And that may be more for some than others. Some might have a lot of masculine energy in them already. And then the 9 of the heart of God, of the hermit, and going within. And again, and with heaven in your eyes, keeping up that energy to learn how to fly. And also with the cloak of love, with the 10 of cups of emotional fulfillment and happiness. Right? When you're able to find happiness within by yourself. And it's easy to keep that vibration high and keep yourself cloaked in love and nature. Of self-initiation, of being wise and hermiting, right? The monk is wise one, going within, seeing new perspectives. Of how to inspire yourself, right? Having time alone to contemplate, also going within to your heart and being alone and just being home. And this could be also then going out and experiencing the whirlwinds of life and lighting, or just being home and learning how to self-initiate and light that fire on your butt without having someone else light that fire. Okay, the wisdom of seeing new perspectives and being wise. And then we have the next card is the Temple, coming together at the Statue of Liberty there. The war within and finding balance and liberty in the middle, where everyone comes from miles around. If you build it, they will come. If you build the liberty, they will come. And they did. They came to the United States. The home of the free. Free to fly. With heaven in your eyes. That's what they're saying. Because she was willing to take a risk and love herself first. The 61 of the risk card. So it's like giving the divine feminines some props, the woman of light, of how good she's done. The 49 of getting your wish, of being in the light. And the bottom of the deck is the earth angel, of being in the rainbow colors as well, the blanket that covers you. With the message here of the earth angel. Again, being grounded, but also being of the light. Okay, so learning how to self-initiate, and then also go within. Also take time apart to contemplate self-happiness and family happiness and what it means to you and what protection you need, right? If you're in high vibration, all you need is love and nature. And then the Temple, which can be the war within, and learning how not to fight, right? So what are we talking about today? So it's not about the thrill of the fight, but the thrill of the no fight. And it's not the agony of defeat, but the agon of the feet. Right? We're not competing there. We're lovers, not fighters. And she loves. She took a risk to love herself first by taking in the light. And there again is the pentagon energy of the light coming into the pin to load up and cause the vacuum in the container between the masculine and feminine to use. And then when it gets used up, you got to fill up again. So you can have some storage, but it can't be a real huge storage because it has to be somewhat fresh and new, just like your milk in the fridge. That's the energy that I'm getting. So I'm going to read to you self-initiation and the cheetah. Cheetah. The cheetah is solar force, as we're talking about the sun a whole lot in this read. Solar force, action, achievement, and masculine energy. The cheetah is the epitome of the solar forces at work. The sun does not shine into the cheetah, and this is very Aries energy, right? It shines from inside this great creature and expands outward to brighten the universe. The energy within the cheetah personality is palpable to others, and they naturally attract an audience to bear witness, but they're not always talking the truth right here. They naturally attract an audience to bear witness to the remarkable achievements, purpose, and passion of the best fuel, as we talk about fuel, the best purpose and passion of the best fuel for a cheetah's forward momentum. So if you're lacking in those areas, reconnect to the why before you start running. When in balance, they can achieve anything. They have boundless energy, and it's very much coming in with the Aries energy of the new year. And then when out of balance, they become impatient and competitive. To bring themselves back into balance, reconnect to the purpose, the reason why they're doing something in the first place, right? There's no need to rush. It's about channeling your energy, right? And the tiger's on the next page. And that's coming up as the lunar force, opposing the solar force of the cheetah. And then we have, what was my first card? Where did I put it? Oh, that's right, it was in front of the deck. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. They're hiding. Okay, so it's the number 12, that's right. So number 12 says, you're being touched by a wave of your own light in motion. Talking about motion and acceleration again. And fuel and movement, lighting that fire under your butt. Can you feel the blessings and love that are flowing towards you from within you and an upsurging wave of love? This is your own pure divine nature. You can choose to empower another as a carrier of your own divinity, of course, and sometimes if you're not quite ready to recognize your own divine essence, this needs to be. Yet at any moment you can choose to recognize that this is who you are, that it is you who are initiating yourself into love, that you are being of light, you are the being of light, you are the divine that is drawing you forward into yourself. At any moment you can choose to recognize yourself. Will this be such a moment? This oracle holds a message for you. There are many teachers on this path, some humble, some wise, some great companions on your life journey, and some who will enter in and out of your life quickly, perhaps imparting a helpful word or teaching you a more challenging lesson about trusting and relying upon your own wisdom. The greatest teacher, however, is life itself. You can trust in your own experiences and know that it's the divine spark within you, the life within you, that is the one true teacher who carries you home in awakened reunion with the divine. And it simply states, how easy to love. The words flow when it's right. I dare not tell you. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you liked that. Please comment below. And remember your water and your sleep, your beauty rest, your joy, and your nature. And remember to breathe. That frill, that love, that ether. And rise and be love, you guys. I'll see you soon. Have an amazing, amazing day. I'll see you later. Bye.